People call Macbeth ambitious. That is true, but it is not the sharpest word. Before he is a killer, Macbeth is a coward.
Yes, not a coward in battle. He is brave with a sword. He is a coward in the place that matters most here. Moral nerve. He knows the murder is wrong, fears what follows, and does it anyway.
So, the usual reading is too clean. It turns him into a man who wants power so badly that he just goes for it.
And the play does not show that. It shows hesitation, dread, delay, and self-knowledge. Macbeth is not charging into crime. He is backing into it, while fully aware of what he is doing.
Start with the obvious point then. Before Duncan's murder, what exactly does Macbeth know?
He knows 3 things. First, Duncan is a good king. Second, Macbeth owes him loyalty as subject, host, and kinsman. Third, murdering him will not end cleanly. He says all of this before the murder even happens.
That matters because this is not ignorance. He cannot claim confusion or fate or some vague dark impulse.
Exactly. Look at the scene where he weighs the murder alone. He runs through reasons not to do it. Duncan has trusted him. Duncan has ruled well. And if you kill a king, violent action teaches others how to answer violence with more violence.
So he sees the political risk and the moral fact at the same time.
Right. He is not blind. He imagines judgment in this world and the next. That is not a reckless man who cannot see consequences. That is a man staring at consequences and still failing to stop himself.
And then comes the line people often flatten into simple ambition. He says he has no spur except vaulting ambition. Isn't that the whole case right there?
No. That line narrows the case. It does not simplify it. He admits he has no good reason, no duty, no necessity, no injury to avenge, just ambition. That confession should make him stop. It does not. That is where cowardice enters.
Because he cannot hold to what he already knows.
Yes. Cowardice here is failure of moral strength. Macbeth can picture the right course. He can even argue for it. But he cannot stand firm under pressure from desire, fear, and imagination.
Let's make that concrete. He actually decides not to do it for a moment, doesn't he?
He does. He tells Lady Macbeth they will proceed no further in this business. That is a real decision. Brief, but real. Then she attacks his courage, his manhood, his consistency, and he folds.
That is the key difference. A hardened villain does not need to be talked into his own crime.
Exactly. Macbeth needs to be pushed because part of him is still resisting. But the resistance is weak. He cares more about not looking weak than about not being wicked. That is cowardice in a brutal form.
And even before the murder, his imagination is already punishing him.
Yes, the dagger scene matters for that reason. People sometimes treat it like spooky decoration. It is not. His mind is staging the murder before his body commits it. He sees where this act leads, and the vision does not stop him. It drives him toward the thing he fears.
So he is frightened, but not strengthened by fear. He is weakened by it.
Right. Fear can make someone pull back from crime. In Macbeth, fear helps produce the crime because he cannot master his own thoughts. He dreads the deed, dreads the aftermath, dreads being exposed, and still walks toward Duncan's room.
That makes his guilt more serious, not less serious.
Much more serious. If he were simply savage, the murder would be easier to label and file away. But Macbeth knows better. He speaks better. He judges the act correctly. Then he chooses it. The failure is not lack of knowledge. It is lack of moral steadiness.
And that failure changes the whole power structure of the play.
Yes, the murder is supposed to solve uncertainty. Instead, it multiplies it. He fears the guards, fears Banquo, fears prophecy, fears sleep, fears revenge. Cowardice doesn't end with the first crime. It breeds more crime.
That is why calling him just ambitious is too soft. Ambition explains the target. It does not explain the weakness.
Exactly. Plenty of characters want things. Macbeth's tragedy is that he cannot govern himself while wanting them. He has enough conscience to know the truth, and not enough courage to obey it.
So when students ask, is Macbeth a villain or a victim? The better answer is neither of those easy boxes.
Yes, He is responsible, but he is not simple. The play shows a man collapsing inward before he lashes outward. Duncan dies because Macbeth cannot hold his nerve against his own imagination, his wife's pressure, and his hunger for power.
Which brings us back to the first claim. Macbeth's problem starts before the blood.
Exactly. The murder matters, but the deeper fact comes first. Macbeth sees the right path, fears the wrong one, and takes it anyway. That is not bold evil. That is cowardice with a crown in its sights.